Hi, my name is Melissa van Dijk, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use Paula's Choice 2% BHA Liquid Exfoliant. And BHA is salicylic acid. Now it can be used in the morning and or evening, and it is suitable for all skin types. Now, salicylic acid is an exfoliating acid that can help you to gently loosen the dead skin cells on the skin surface, which helps to improve textured skin, dullness, as well as an uneven skin tone. Yet at the same time is able to unclog pores, which helps to improve acne-prone and blackhead-prone skin and maintains it while using the product. And it is able to regulate your oiliness, and salicylic acid has some anti-inflammatory properties. So overall, this is a salicylic acid solution which can be used in the morning and or evening. But what you have to keep in mind is the overall frequency, the adjustment of your skincare routine accordingly to your skin type, and the overall application. Now, from my experience, Paula's Choice 2% BHA Liquid Exfoliant is an intense exfoliating acid solution, which if you're going to use it too often, too fast, it can easily lead to sensitivity or even purging, which can become quite uncomfortable. And so to reduce the likelihood of experiencing it, I recommend adjusting the frequency over time so that you at home can figure out what's going to work well for your skin needs. Since this is very individual, I cannot tell you an overall guide which you have to keep on going with, because that's not the case. Not everyone has the same deeper skin concerns. Not everyone has the same amount of dead skin cells on the skin surface. Your age matters as well. Your acne-prone skin matters as well, and blackheads. So you need to adjust it accordingly. And based on that, I recommend starting off by using it either 2 to 3 times per week or every other day, so that you have at least 1 or 2 days in between where you're not going to exfoliate your skin. So that first of all, your skin has time to adjust to Paula's Choice 2% BHA, and at the same time you will figure out if that frequency is working well for you, if already sensitivity occurs. And so this does play a big role, because the sooner you can identify what frequency works the best for you, or at what point you may come across the slightest signs of sensitivity, you can immediately react to it. But if you're using it too often, too quickly, it's usually already kind of too late to reduce it, because then you need to give your skin a completely break of it before you're going to use it again. So once you figure out if you want to get started by using it 2 to 3 times per week or every other day, do this frequency for at least a month, so that you can see how your skin is going to respond to it. If already discomfort occurs, reduce it even further. If you feel like this frequency works well for you, you can already see some changes within your skin, you do enjoy it, then keep on going with this frequency. If your current frequency that you just have started with works well for you, then there's no need to use it more often, because if you would use it then more often, then this can likely cause sensitivity, because you have already seen some improvements earlier. However, if you do say, well, I can use it 2 to 3 times per week or every other day, and then it does not do much for my skin, nor do I come across any discomfort, then of course go ahead and increase the frequency. Then the next step would be using it once per day daily. And then the overall last step would be using it twice per day daily. But again, I recommend doing this in stages, do one frequency for a month at least, so that you can see how your skin is dealing with it. And since in the beginning you're going to only use it once every other day or once per day daily, I recommend using it in your evening skincare routine, so that you don't have to worry about sun protection, because we are working with an exfoliating acid. And overall, exfoliating acids help to make the skin sensitive to the sun due to the exfoliation. So therefore, sun protection is important, and it shouldn't be skipped during daytime when being exposed to the sun. But if you're someone that kind of forgets it every now and then, or you're not really being consistent with it, then my best advice would be do this only in the evening, because in the evening you do not have to worry about it, and your skin has some time to regenerate while going to sleep, so that you're going to lower the risk already. But either way, sun protection during daytime when being exposed to the sun is important when working with any exfoliating acid. So this would be a nice frequency guide on how you can get started and how you can adjust it. Now I do want to get started with some example skincare routines which you need to adjust based on your skin type. Now keep in mind that salicylic acid can make the skin a bit drier, so if you have an oilier skin type you may enjoy it and you like that your skin becomes less oily while using the product. However, if you do already have a drier skin type, or you should come across dryness over time, you need to adjust it accordingly, and then a moisturizer is advised to use. At the same time, if you have already a drier skin type and you are using it quite often throughout the week, and you can come across dryness which isn't at some point not manageable anymore, then at this time I do recommend also reducing the frequency of your BHA so that your skin has more time to build itself up again, so that you can nicely balance it with the frequency and your moisturizer. So those are just a few tips that I can share with you in case you come across dryness or have already a drier skin type. Now I have prepared for you some example skincare routines as well as what you should avoid when working with Paula's Choice 2% BHA Exfoliant. Now, I have prepared for you an example routine based on what products you can, for example, use if you have an oilier skin type, as well as what you can use if you have a drier skin type. Of course, if you have different like skincare products at home, you can replace them based on what works well for your skin type as well as needs. So those are just some examples that I have put into my steps so that you have a visual understanding of it. Now, first of all, you can use Paula's Choice BHA Exfoliant on its own. So you can keep it very simple. So during daytime, if you're using it during daytime, wash your face with a gentle and suitable cleanser for your oily skin or for your dry skin. Rinse it off, pat the skin dry, then move immediately on to Paula's Choice 2% BHA, apply it to the skin, leave it on the skin, and then don't forget to follow with sun protection, either a moisturizer that already contains SPF or regular sunscreen, so that you have an overall protection going when working with an exfoliant. If you're going to use the exfoliant in your evening skincare routine or evening skincare routine, depending on your frequency, then you can basically do the same thing just without sun protection. So go ahead, start off by washing your face with a gentle cleanser for your skin type, and you may want to do a double cleanse in case you're trying to remove stubborn sunscreen and or makeup. Then use your oil cleanse at first and then your gentle cleanser afterwards. Rinse it off, pat the skin dry, move on to the BHA, apply to the skin, and then if you should feel the need, depending on your skin type as well as if dryness occurs or not, you can follow with a moisturizer afterwards. But if you have already oily skin and you want to keep it simple and you like the feeling on how the BHA on its own feels on the skin, you do not necessarily have to use a moisturizer afterwards. So this is how you can adjust it accordingly to your skin type and needs. Then I have prepared for you an additional skincare routine based on if you are planning on using a toner and or other treatments in your skincare routine, and that's completely fine to do. So for a morning routine, again, you would get started with washing your face using a gentle cleanser. Then if you want to include a hydrating and soothing toner in your skincare routine or essence, then this would be now the next step. Make sure that it's working well for your skin type, of course. And then you are moving on to the exfoliant. And then you're going to move on to any other serums or treatments that are working well for your skin type and maybe skin concerns as well, and then follow with sun protection afterwards. Now again, the same would apply if you're going to use the BHA in the evening. The only step that will change is maybe the double cleanse as well as the sun protection. So cleanse, or maybe do a double cleanse with a gentle cleanser, use your toner or essence, use an exfoliant, then your serums and treatments, and then your moisturizer if you should feel the need. So this would be an example of a more advanced skincare routine. Now, when working with serums and treatments as well as your toner, make sure that it's working well for your skin type and needs. I mainly went with Paula's Choice products because they have specific toners for different skin types as well as needs. And when it comes to serums and treatments, look for serums and treatments if you want to include them that give you the benefits based on your skin concerns and maybe your skin type. So as examples, if you have like an oilier skin type, you may benefit from niacinamide. If you have discoloration, you may benefit from like a vitamin C, so that you have an idea of how you can adjust it. Now, when it comes to what you should avoid, and by that I mean avoiding in the same routine, and if you're being completely new to Paula's Choice BHA, I recommend avoiding it for at least the first month, so that you can see how your skin is dealing with the BHA. And this would be, first of all, retinol. Now, if you're going to keep the focus on Paula's Choice retinols, they have several ones, but the main ones are the 0.3 and 1% retinol treatment or the 1% retinol booster. Those are quite intense, so therefore I recommend not using them in the same routine, and I wouldn't use them during the same week as well if you're being new to Paula's Choice BHA, because this can not only lead to sensitivity, since both kind of exfoliate the skin, but it can lead to dryness as well. So if you have like a retinol at home as well as a BHA, depending on which one is new, you want to start off with the newer one, so that you know how your skin is going to respond to it individually before adding your retinol or your BHA to your skincare routine, so that you have an overall understanding on what works for your skin and what doesn't. But please, if you do want to use them throughout the same week, create 2 PM routines where you're going to alternate between them. The same would apply to very strong vitamin C suspensions, creams, serums. I'm talking about more than 20% of vitamin C ascorbic acid, since this can really lead to stinging or burning if you're going to combine it with an exfoliant due to the low pH as well as the strength of your ascorbic acid. So therefore, my best advice would be use them in separate routines as well. If you're looking into the ordinary products, then it would be peptides as well. Please avoid using like Paula's Choice BHA with ordinary peptides. And lastly, please do not use Paula's Choice BHA exfoliant with other exfoliating acids. So this would be exfoliating acid cleansers or exfoliating acid solutions or serums or even masks. So please do not use them in the same routine, keep them separate. And then you may need to have more like evening skincare routines to alternate between them to make sure that you can already reduce the likelihood of sensitivity. So those were the points that I do want to emphasize when working with Paula's Choice 2% BHA. If you want to go over the example skincare routines as well as what you should avoid in your own time, I'm going to link them in the description box down below. But now I really want to keep my focus on the application so that you can see it visually when using Paula's Choice 2% BHA Liquid Exfoliant. So the first step would be, doesn't matter if you're doing this in the morning and or evening, it would be your cleansing step. So in the evening you may want to do a double cleanse, but it's not necessary if your cleanser is able to remove sunscreen and or makeup as well. Then using your daily gentle cleanser can do the job as well, depending on how stubborn it may be. So as an example, I have come up with a skincare routine that's more so suitable if you have an oilier skin type, but again, those are just examples so that you can see it visually. When it comes to the cleansing step, you can either wash your face above the sink or use your cleanser in the shower. Whatever works the best for you and is more convenient, make sure that you're going to properly wash your face. So I have one example right here of Paula's Choice Oil Reducing Cleanser, which is great for combination to oily skin. So that's just, again, one example. If you have a different cleanser at home, then please read on the back of the packaging on how you should properly use your cleanser. Do you have to apply it on dry skin or on wet skin, and how do you have to remove it? This does play a big role when using it. Can you use your cleanser around the eyes? Do you need to avoid it? If it does mention anything about it, I recommend following that specific guide. Just make sure to not get it into your eyes nor into your mouth. If that's the case, rinse it immediately with water. So in this example, I have to apply the cleanser on wet skin, so that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to get started with wetting my face, neck and hands with lukewarm water to warm water, and then applying the cleanser onto wet skin. So let's go ahead and do this. So use about a coin size amount, or about 1 to 2 palms of your cleanser in the palm of your hand. Rub your hands together and then gently massage it all over your face and neck for about 30 seconds to a minute. So once you have massaged your cleanser all over your face and neck, you now can go ahead and rinse it off with lukewarm water to warm water. What you can do is using a fresh and soft washcloth in between if you should have troubles getting the cleanser properly off the skin, so that you're making sure that there's no residue left. So now go ahead and take a fresh toner and pat the skin dry. Now once you have pat the skin dry, you can immediately move on to the next step. Now in case you have a toner at home and you want to include it in your skincare routine, then this would be now the next step after cleansing. However, make sure that you're working with an hydrating and soothing toner and not an exfoliating acid toner. So please make sure that you're not using a toner where it does mention AHA or like glycolic, lactic or mandelic acid or PHA or BHA toner. If you have such toners at home, those are again exfoliating acid toners. If you're working with an hydrating and soothing toner, make sure that it does not mention any of those exfoliating acids, words that I just have emphasized. And one great example would be Paula's Choice Pore Reducing Toner. This is a hydrating and soothing toner for combination to oily skin. And so when using that one, for example, you can either apply a bit of product in the palm of your hand and then apply it to the skin, or on a cotton pad. If you're applying a bit of product in the palm of your hand and you can count the drops of your toner, then I can give you an overall general guide. And this is using between 5 to 8 drops of your hydrating and soothing toner in the palm of your hand. Rub your hands together and then gently blend it all over. Now this is just a general guide. If you feel like it's not enough, you cannot properly and evenly blend it all over, of course you can use a few drops more. But what I wanted to teach you here is that please do not use too much of your toner, because your skin should feel slightly damp all over so that you can feel that you are able to apply it all over, but it shouldn't feel wet. And so when using a cotton pad, for example, the same thing would apply to a cotton pad. Please do not soak up the entire cotton pad, because this is going to be, first of all, too much product and that you don't need to apply all over your face and neck, and you're going to waste a lot of product. So use about a coin size amount, and I'm going to show you now how much this is going to be so that you have like a visual understanding. I know that the cotton pad does absorb some of the product, but if you can get like about a coin size amount and you feel like that this part right here has soaked up the product, and this should be more than enough for your face and neck. Again, this is just an overall general guide. If you feel like it's not enough for your skin, depending also on your skin type, you can use a bit more, but please do not soak up the entire cotton pad, because again, it's going to be too much. It's sitting on top of the skin surface and it cannot absorb into the skin, which then may lead to other products when layering other skincare products afterwards. Now, once you have applied your toner, leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. Now I want to keep my focus on Paula's Choice 2% BHA, which again you can use after your toning step or just use it immediately after your cleansing step. Now when working with Paula's Choice 2% BHA, when it comes to the amount of product, it's basically the same as I just have shared with you with toner. Use between 5 to 8 drops when applying it in the palm of your hand, or about a coin size amount when using it on a cotton pad. But again, with this one specifically, it is important that you're using like enough to cover the entire area, and it should feel slightly damp, but it shouldn't sit on top of the skin surface, because we're working with an exfoliating acid. If you're using too much of the exfoliating acid, this again may cause sensitivity, because it's sitting on top of the skin surface and your skin cannot handle it. It's going to be too much for the skin. Your skin does not need that much exfoliation. So therefore, the amount of product that you're using plays a big role. And by the way, if you're going to use too much of it, it can feel slightly oily as well, which is a texture that you may not enjoy when it's still sitting on top of the skin surface. So I'm going to apply it with the palm of my hand. So I just went with 5 drops. Of course, you can add a couple of drops more to it. Then rub your hands together and then gently blend it all over your face and neck. Please make sure to not use it on top of your eyelids. Please do not get it into your eyes nor into your mouth. And please avoid getting it too close to the lower lash line. You can use it on the eye contour, but do not drag it too close to the actual lower lash line. So So, and once you have applied Paula's Choice 2% BHA Liquid Exfoliant all over your face and neck, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. This is a leave-on exfoliant. So this means that when applying it in your evening skincare routine to your skin, you're going to leave it on the skin for the entire night. And then when waking up the next morning and you're going to wash your face again, that's when you're going to rinse it off, even though it has already completely absorbed into the skin. But you understand that it's a leave-on exfoliant, there's no need to wash it off. Now, if you have used the right amount, you should be able to feel that it feels slightly damp all over and that it is able to absorb into the skin within like a few seconds. Like, it shouldn't take that long to absorb into the skin. So I would say give it for about 30 seconds to a minute in case you then want to move on to other skincare products afterwards. Now, if this is going to be your evening skincare routine, which is also where I want to keep my focus on due to the exfoliation and the sun exposure, I want to keep my focus on the evening skincare routine, you can stop right here. You just can wash your face and then use the exfoliant, and that's it in your evening skincare routine. However, as already mentioned, if you have, for example, other serums and treatments at home or moisturizer at home, then you can follow with those afterwards. When it comes to serums and treatments, and you have a serum that comes with a pipette, use between 3 to 8-ish drops. Now, I'm going to explain it. If you have, for example, a serum at home that comes with a pipette and has a thicker texture, then using between like 3 to 4 drops should be enough for your face and neck. However, if you're working with a serum that has a very thin texture, like Paula's Choice Niacinamide Booster, that one has a very thin texture, 2 to 3 drops is not going to be enough. So you need to use a bit more, at least like around 5 to 8-ish drops, depending on how you want to blend it all over your face only, or maybe your neck as well, or your décolletage, and of course you need to use a bit more. But again, please make sure that you're going to use enough that you can evenly blend it all over and that the product is able to absorb into the skin when working with a serum that has a liquidish texture. However, if you now say you have other treatments as well, let's say you have Paula's Choice Azelaic Acid Booster, which you could use afterwards, then layer from the thinnest to the thickest texture. So let's say my example is niacinamide and then Paula's Choice Azelaic Acid Booster. I would use my niacinamide at first and then Azelaic Acid Booster afterwards due to the texture. So then this would be the layering process. Once you have applied your treatments, you're going to leave it on the skin. There's no need to wash it off. And then you can follow with a moisturizer afterwards in your evening skincare routine and or sun protection during daytime. Now, when it comes to a moisturizer, use one that's working well for your skin type and needs. Again, if no dryness occurs, you do not really have dry skin, it's not the need of using one. But if you do feel the need or you have a drier skin type, use one. I have an example right here of Paula's Choice Water-Infused Electrolyte Moisturizer, which is a very lightweight moisturizer and it's suitable for all skin types. However, if you have a drier skin type, you may prefer something richer. But if you do use something richer, make sure that you're using a moisturizer that won't clog pores, especially if you have a problem with acne or blackheads. So then looking into specific moisturizers does help as well. When using a moisturizer, use about a pea-sized amount, more or less. If you have a drier skin type, you probably want to use a bit more since your skin is going to absorb it quite quickly. So about that much, more or less. It can be adjusted so that you can blend it all over, and if you have drier skin type, that you have a protective seal over it as well. So, and once you have applied your moisturizer all over your face, then this is going to be the last step in your evening skincare routine, and you're going to leave it on the skin. However, again, I do want to emphasize, during daytime when being exposed to the sun, it is important to follow with sun protection, especially if you're being exposed to the sun for several hours. So when it comes to sun protection, use one that's working well for your skin type and needs. As I already mentioned, it can be a moisturizer that already contains SPF so that you have like the 2-in-1, or use a regular sunscreen. And some sunscreens do even have some hydrating benefits as well, that it acts like the 2-in-1 even though they do not mention it. So then you can go ahead and use that one. If you want to know how you can properly apply your sunscreen or your moisturizer with SPF, I have a specific video for you in the top right corner where I'm going over all the important information as well as the application so that you can see it visually. But this would be it if you're being just the entire day at home, not being exposed to direct sunlight or even your evening skincare routine. And this this is how you would balance it out and finish it off. Now, if you do enjoy this video and you find it helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. And if you now want to know more about skincare products and how you can properly apply them and include them in your skincare routine, I have several videos for you on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to link some of them at the end of this video so that you can keep on watching. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Happy skincaring. Bye!